Our brand is Haddrells of Cambridge, and it's been in existence now for 10 years. Our Haddrells of Cambridge brand is sold both domestically here in New Zealand and throughout the world. In Asia, we sell in Hong Kong, Japan, Malaysia, Singapore, a small amount into China and Taiwan. We also sell into United States and Canada, United Kingdom and Ireland, and a little into Australia. I think the Haddrells of Cambridge Manuka honey is extremely special. The key factor is that Richard and I are involved in all parts of the process. The product is direct from the beekeeper. We have total control, we have total traceability from the time that bee collects that nectar in the beehive and brings it home, right through till we put it in the honey pot. We have a great team of people that work with us in our factory that support us and help us put all these parts together to get the honey to the shop shelf. And it might be Cambridge in New Zealand, it might be Cambridge, United States, or Cambridge in England. But we have great pleasure in making sure that that product is as natural and as healthy and as good for you as you can. I personally think that Haddrells of Cambridge Manuka honey is a fantastic gift. You can guarantee pretty much if you come to my place you will get a gift of honey, particularly our good Manuka honey, as a gift. It's pure, it's natural, it's absolute true icon of New Zealand. It has all aspects of New Zealand wrapped up in a honey pot. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's natural and has a goodness to it that is really, really special. The definition of UMF is unique Manuka factor. This was a concept that was brought about 10 years ago by a group of beekeepers in association with Dr. Peter Molan from the University of Waikato. They had found that there were these antibacterial properties and we needed to give it a name, we needed to coin it and protect it in some form or fashion. So what these beekeepers did was they created the trademark, called it UMF, and decided to brand it and give particular companies, either manufacturing companies or beekeeping companies, a license to use that trademark on their own product. And we use the UMF trademark on our Haddrells of Cambridge brand. When we get each batch of our Manuka honey back to our factory and we've extracted it through the extracting plant, we take a sample of every batch that we have. We send that sample away to an independent laboratory that has been approved by the University of Waikato, and they will measure the unique Manuka factor in the honey. What they're looking is that they are measuring the value of the honey against a phenol standard, and it's a standard verified and validated test that they use in science throughout the world. And we then get given a report that has the value or the answer to that particular batch. And what we're looking for on the report is the UMF rating. Now, Dr. Peter Molan assessed that honey that has a UMF rating of 10 or more would assist you medicinally. And that's the honeys that we can brand, and we brand using UMF 10 plus or 13 plus, 16 plus, and sometimes we have 20 plus and 25 plus that we can brand and use on our product. Now, each batch will then have its own report that we can give to our customers to validate and verify that testing process. We have locations throughout the central North Island where we place our beehives. The main areas where we have our beehives are in Turangi, south of Lake Taupo, and in a big valley area called Retaruki. The Manuka trees grow in many different regions throughout New Zealand, predominantly in the North Island. They grow in the far north, they grow in the Coromandel and the east coast, but we go to the areas in the central North Island, down the Retaruki Valley, where it takes us around about 3.5 hours one way to drive from Cambridge to Retaruki to harvest the Manuka honey. When we go down the Retaruki Valley, we have a central point, and as it's at the bottom of the valley, there are other valleys inland from that area, but they're so remote and the access is extremely limited. We actually fly our beehives on pallets underneath a helicopter, and we fly them into these remote areas, place the beehives in clearings, let them go with a helicopter, and they land quietly and stay there for 3 or 4 weeks, and then we will go back with the helicopter, pick them up, hive bees and everything all together and the honey, and bring them back to a central location to our trucks, and then we will load the honey onto the trucks and take them home to our factory in Cambridge. In the Manuka tree, the bees go straight to the flower, and that's the important part of how we do our beekeeping process when we do Manuka honey. What we do is we go into the locations, we check to see how the Manuka is flowering, and once there's about 5 to 10% of flowers open on the trees, we bring the beehives into that location. A big part of beekeeping is learning to drive a truck, and learning to drive a truck at night. So we load all the beehives on the trucks at night, take them into these remote locations, take the beehives off and put them in the paddock, and then the next morning they wake up, they're in a new place, they come out and they're very smart, they do a big orientation dance and orientate and work out where they are, and they go and seek the closest, most accessible flower. Now in that case it would be the Manuka tree. The Manuka flowers for about 3 to 4 weeks, and the bees will work that flower and go and collect the nectar. What they do is they have a long tongue that they probe down into the flower. They suck the nectar up into their honey stomach. Bees are really smart. They have 2 stomachs, one for them and one for the honey. So when they come back to the beehive, they deliver that honey to a worker bee that is just inside the doorway of their beehive. They give the honey or the nectar to that bee. They then turn around and go back out into the field and get some more honey. Now in their lifetime, a bee will collect only 1 teaspoon of honey. So it's a lot of work and a lot of travelling and a lot of flying for 1 teaspoon that we smear on our toast.